Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barkanmu da sake haduwa a video na uku a wannan sati na hudu a cikin web development under CSS programming. So wannan video za mu yi magana kan abin da ake ce ma position. So position is a very important what we call a very important property in CSS which we can use to make sure that our page layout is nice looking. What I mean here is position is one of the most important property we used in terms of making things in proper position. In position, we have different types of position, and we have like let me see. We have a position called let's see, a position called. Let me just see it. Let me do this. We have a position called absolute. Absolute. We have a position called absolute position here. Then we also have a position called a relative position. Relative position. And then we have another position called a fixed position. All right, fixed position. And then we have another one, static position. Static position. Yes, static position. So these are basically the four types of positioning that we will talk about in this class today. But before we go further, let me just use this time to explain what the position is all about. So you see, element in the page is being defined in order with the view, right? So we can have element like this and element like this, all of them are occupying a particular place in the positions like that in a web page like this. But how would we interpret the actual position it plays with? Sannan kuma ya za mu iya yin bayani dangane da abin da ya shafi position in a particular element in relative to another element, for instance. So wannan shirin ne. So probably abin da yake faruwa shine duka element din da za mu iya gani a cikin website. So by default that element is being defined as a static position element. In a static position element, we actually, the element is not depend on the position of the parent. Now, what do we mean by parent? Now look at this. Let me just define this in action. I think it's better for us. Let me just define a parent class here. A parent class here. All right. Okay. Now, what we mean by parent here? Let me just come to my HTML here. Let's see. We don't have all of this cool functionality. You don't have it. Let me remove it, and then me say, okay, this one is just okay. It's not responding. Sorry. Okay, let me just remove one here like this. What we mean by parent here is that this element is the main element where if I now say, okay, parent here, I think it can be clear. This one is a parent. Any element inside of this one is what is called let's say it's called children in the element, right? Let me just copy this one so that it can be the children there. Then here I can say it's okay like this. So now let's look at this way, right? So now let me say this one is static element. Static element. This one is a relative element, and this one is, let's say, absolute element. Let's say this one is fixed element, right? So let me just have static, and then let me just come here and see relative. Yeah, absolute. And let me come here and change this one to fixed, right? Okay, so now let me come to my browser here. I refresh this, then we have this element without any format and everything. I want to get rid of this one. I won't get rid of it here. Where is that now? Here. Let me comment it here. Oh, I can remove this. Here I can. If I remove it here, I think it's okay for now. Okay, I only have this one inside. Okay, did I save it? I didn't save it. Okay, saved. I save everything here. Now let me see this one here. Okay, now this is just a normal thing. We don't do anything there. What I'm after doing here is, let me come to the parent and give it a little style here. Okay, parent. Where are the parent? Let me just get rid of all this one. Oh, let me leave them there. Okay, but here we are after our this one. Oh, let me just cut them from here so that we can easily use them, right? After this body here, let me take this one down so that it no interfere with our code here. Okay, let me paste them here. So let's say in this parent here, I want to give us the like background color, no, let me just give it a border. So border is, let's say, 102 pixel solid, let's say black. Oh, let me just use as some color red in order to see it clearly. And apart from that, I want to give like a padding to be like let me see, 10 pixel like that. Okay, let me save it here, come to this place here, refresh it. So you see it is surrounded with border and all other things like that. Okay, let me just make sure that I remove this one. Okay, I can add margin to it in order to create a little bit margin for you to see it clearly. I can add margin here, margin, let me see, 20 pixel margin, so that you can see it very well. You can see the parent, right? Okay, I didn't save it. I think I not save it. Okay, if I now refresh this one here, I will be able to see it clearly. Now this red bordered element here is what we call a parent. So all other element inside here is children. Now let me just go ahead and give the say background color because let me give this one blue. Uh, let me give this one blue. Let me copy it here, and then I will do that. Do this and do this and do the. Let me just give this one orange. Let me give this one pink. Let me give this one, which one? Can you guess? Let me just give it purple. All right. Okay, let's give it purple. Save this one, refresh it here. You'll be able to see, look at it, all of them, they are having a good colors like that. So let me just format them, give them a little width and height and make it look like okay. Let me see the width. Don't know why. Do not okay. Give it width of let me see 200. Let me see padding. Padding. Let me be 10 pixel. 10 pixel. I can also see it here. Should be pixel. It's just kind of formatted for you to see it very well. And if I refresh this one here, now I can be able to see it. It's look like that color like that. Okay. Now if I have what's it called? If I can add font size to it, maybe it didn't look actually the way I want, or maybe what I do, let me just increase. It didn't show boldly enough to me. Okay, let me just increase the font size for you to be able to see it clearly, right? So that is just it. And then can I change the text color? If I want, I can change the text color so that you'll be able to see it very well. I can change the color of everything to be white. Oh, I can even do it from the parent code. I think I can see from the parent. I can do the color here. I think it can work like that. Parent color white. So since all of them request the colors white, I don't have to go through all of them and apply the color white. That is what I'm thinking. Let me just try and see it. Yes, it works. We apply it once and all of them has happened. Since this one is the parent, when the parents say this is what will happen, everybody must accept in the family, right? So now margin and padding, I can give it to all of them like that. So let me copy it. Okay, do this, and do this. All right. So what is actually happening is, let's see in this place here, I want to change the display of the parent of everything in the parent. You can say okay, display I think let's see, the display is inline. Let me change the display inline there, or maybe before I do that, let me start working with the actual stack static. So, and actually normally if any element is being created on the web page, normally is a static it's a static is in static position. Static position doesn't have anything to do with the size of the parent, right? So it's just like a static. Is that okay? It's just like a static. It doesn't do anything with the position of the parent. I think I didn't save it here. I think I didn't save it here. Oh. Okay. It's still running. Okay, saved. Then it doesn't do anything with a position of static element is just like a normal static. Now, for instance, it doesn't move anywhere. It's just like a static position in one particular position, so like that. Let me just give it a try. When you say position here, for us to add a position to an element, we need to say a position like this, and then give it kind of types of position. Let me say static. So normally by default is a static. So make it static. For instance, we try to move it from its position where it is to maybe to another position, maybe to left position like that. So we won't be able to do. If you say left, if I want to move it left to maybe say 200 pixel left, therefore the position it will not move. All right. So let me just save this here and then refresh this page here. You see that it's static, it can't move anywhere, right? It can't move anywhere. So that is why we have a static, and that is what we call the static. A static position is a position that did not move anywhere, right? But the action of one or things on the other will no affect will actually affect it sometimes. So that is a static. Or if you look at the if you talk about relative, we said the static doesn't move anywhere, doesn't go anywhere, just like a static. If you want see it moving or move to a particular point here, we need to like put it in another types of position, right? Position, this one doesn't go anywhere, it is there as it is, right? So now if we move, say, a relative position here, this one, so this you see, okay, let me just come to my relative here. This is my relative. I say position here, position here, uh, relative. This is this position is relative to the parent. So therefore, since it's relative to the parent here to this red line like this, therefore it can move from its normal position to anywhere to this parent line like that. So if I now save this file here, already do that, then refresh this page here, you won't be able to see any changes, right? But if we try to move it to anywhere within a parent div element, we can be able to do that because we say the position is relative. If you now try to say, let's say left, if I say left, let's say 30 pixel there, right? Okay, save it, then try to see that. Yes, you see that we can be able to move it to here, and we can increase this one, then we increase this one to, let's say, 300. We can move it because the position, look at this, you see, we can move it anywhere within the page we want to move because the position of this element now is relative to this one, relative to this edge, and relative to the entire border of this parent element. That is why we can be able to move it. This one is static, is there at no go anywhere. You can't move it anywhere. The highest thing we can do to this one, we reduce the width or we add margin to the other side or something like that. So is what we call a relative position. Relative position, an element can be able to move anywhere around the parent element, right? This is the parent element. I think let me just increase the width so people can see it very well. Let me see, this one is 10 pixels. Parent should be like 10 pixels width so that people can be able to see it very well. Okay, look at it. This red is the parent, and this one can move around that, but it cannot go beyond this outside. No, it to stay within the parent. Is that okay? So now, what will happen if we move it to top and it come with these kind of things there, right? So now let me just give it a try. Let it come back to its normal position. Then we can say maybe top. Maybe we can say top 200, 300 for instance. Okay, we can say top. You see, because of the top is like too much to do. Okay, top. Okay, now top is a button. Sorry, let's say, is it button or button? Button. Let me just say 10 pixel for instance. I think I didn't save. Yes, I didn't. You see, it goes on top of this blue, right? This shows that it's, if I keep moving it, it can go over the it can go over the static position there. If I now make it 20 here, save it, 20. Look at what happened. You see that it's coming, covering the static position. It can go on top of this static position because it doesn't care of whatever, whoever is in here or whoever is in there, they can go on top of it. And as long as, in order to just maintain the relationship between them and the actual parent of the element there. So that is what we call relative position. So relative position can be able to move over an element, and also it can move under an element. So the major issue here is let me talk about the other one here, because this static can allow somebody to go on top of it and pass it like that, relative to go on top of it. But what about if it's a static? That is, maybe you are moving it to a static element. Let me see, where is our static element? Okay, absolute element. Let me see it like that. So let me just move it top to down in order to, maybe top there, 20 pixel. Let me see it there. Then let me see if it can come down to the absolute position. Yes, it can come down and cover the absolute position too. Then, and even though we didn't put the position in that absolute here, let me just try that. Put position to the absolute here. Let me see. Okay, absolute position here should be absolute position here should be absolute here, since it can we don't have any this absolute position is like similar to static, but it contains property that will make somebody overlapping it and to hidden, maybe be at the back of it or maybe it will be at the front of it. If I now say this absolute position, and then we come here and refresh this page here, see that it's absolute position. This one, because it is absolute position, then this one, as it is going at the back of it instead of coming on top of it, right? It go at the back of it because of it is absolute position. It is real. It is the one that have the real position of it, right? So Absolute position also possesses the what's called Z indexing. Z index like this. So Z index, you can specify the value of -1. If you specify the value of -1, it's just work like that. All right. Okay, one, it will work like the way it is. If you -1 to come on top of it. Now, if I refresh this page here, you see that the absolute is there and this one overlap, the relative now come on top of it. So if I don't want the relative to come on top of it to the absolute position, then I can make my Z index to be 1 so that it will go back to where at the back of the absolute positioning. So depending on decision of the absolute body may decide to say, okay, come my back. If you are overlapping me, you overlap me under, not on top of me, right? That is what exactly happening. If I now refresh this page here, you will see that uh, the absolute position. This one now we go back and the absolute position come on top, right? So that is just about absolute positioning. So all of them, they have their own property. This one is static, this one is relative, can move anywhere. Can we move absolute? Let's try. You can say, okay, left 30 pixel, or maybe okay, left 30 pixel. Okay, can we move absolute? That's what we're trying. Yes, we can move absolute left 30 pixel and right or whatever, right? We can move absolute positioning, right? So which means relative and absolute, all of them can be moved. If I now say right, if you now say uh, left, right, okay, let me just say right. All right, let me see. Okay, if I now refresh this one, you will see that right, this static position at the right there, we can move absolute position anywhere we want to move it. So you know which one can we use and where you can use them, right? So it depends on your choice. Sorry, my voice and kata is just like okay. Now, right, you can move it right down anywhere we want to move. The absolute position can be moved, the relative position can be moved, but static position cannot be moved, and it can overlap the absolute one. If the absolute one to come under, they can come under. If the relative is moving over a static, it cover it automatically. The static doesn't have that kind of functionality. But let me just try. Okay, you can maybe try it yourself. Okay, now the last positioning we're talking about is this fixed position. Fixed position is a kind of positioning where you don't want to, as maybe you're scrolling, you want it to be in that same position that it is for forever. Whatever happened to the page, even if you're scrolling, you change the pixels and other things like that, you scroll down, up, wherever, you move to this side, let that element just continue staying where it is. Now, how do we do that? Let me just try to see it. Fixed position, where we have our fixed look at it here. I can say okay, position is, let's say, fixed, semicolon there. Save it here, go refresh it here. Okay, you see that is fixed here. As you see it here is fixed. All right, it's fixed, totally fixed. If I now have a lot of content so that I can maybe scroll over, let me come to my HTML here. Let me put a bunch of let me copy this my pictures here, copy them. Where can I put them? Maybe inside my, I can put them anywhere, by the way. Control V here, save it. Oh, okay, save it is solved, and then refresh this page here. What do you do? Or maybe from the CSS, I'm thinking of maybe I use a display hidden to some of this. Okay, it's coming down here. Maybe there is somewhere I hide that section. From our display class. That's what I'm thinking, maybe. Nothing like display display here. Yes, there is photo is hidden. Yes, photo is hidden. Let me say I want to display it block so that we can create some spaces to my yes, you see that okay, okay, I put it on top of it. If I put this one on top of all the images, I think it will be fixed. That is the only problem there. All right, from it and down, let me see it here. Let me just cut everything. Okay, let me just put them down here. Okay, save it. I refresh this page here. You see that it is fixed, right? The position is fixed all over everything we're going. So you see that this one is relative to what? Relative to this content. If you can move it anywhere, this one is static as it is in position. This one absolute. This one is absolute to actual content of it. We can move the absolute, we can also move the relative, but static cannot move. And what about fixed? Can we move fixed? Let me try. Let me try. If we can move fixed, which means the only static position cannot move. Let me see where can we move fixed position. Let me see. Let's say 50 pixel left. Refresh. Yes, we can move it anywhere we want. Thank you for watching. See you in the next